Welcome to the Fill Your Cups podcast. We're your hosts, Morgan
and Bailey. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in today. Today we're going to be talking about ruts and I guess kind of getting out of them, how we accidentally get into them, why we get into them, and just getting out of them and letting the ruts go and kind of changing things up. So I'm pretty excited to talk about it today because I feel like it's kind of topical in my life right now. So yeah, we're just going to talk about that and get straight into it.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out if this was more of a how-to or a let's get deep, and we feel like it's a little bit more how-to, but we might get a little deep too. So
Maybe.
So
let's
get ready for all of it.
Yes, hopefully relatable.
Before we dive into the juice, what's filling your cup today?
Today I've got, it's so boring as always, but I've got my water. It does have a lemonade packet in it, so I'm basically drinking pink lemonade. And then I've got a cherry cola Olipop, which
is the same combo you just had.
It is the exact same, except I have a lemonade packet this time. Last time I didn't.
There you go. Yeah. I need to get some of those or figure out if they're allowed with freaking my sparkle liner things. But because I just have water today, and it's boring, but also the rubber bands on my thing, I didn't have them last time we recorded.
You have them now?
Yeah, and you can't see them?
Oh, I can see them now. Yeah. I couldn't see them before until you did that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, they hurt. I don't know how people do this. They hurt the inside of my mouth. So water is honestly a huge relief to the skin on the inside of my. I'm sure that it'll toughen or something like muscles do.
It's just rubbing against the inside of your cheek though.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks, dude. That's such a shitty time. It's funny too. Because you're not wearing braces, and braces are normally what hurts so bad, but the Invisalign is doing the same thing. That's crazy. I did not know that was really even something that would happen with Invisalign.
Yeah, I feel bad because I feel like now every time we talk about filling our cups, I rig the conversation. Talk about my stupid aligners.
No, it's a big thing.
It's very present for me, so I won't talk about that again. But
talk about it all you want.
Water.
I like it.
Water's what
Water's filling your cup. I love it. Well, something else that's filling my cup is that we recently made a reel and a TikTok. We link one of both. And they were just all of the sweet messages that we've gotten since we started the podcast. And we have 25 followers or something like that on TikTok. And so I knew it wasn't going to blow up or go viral. But we actually got a comment on there from someone who did not follow us. We don't know them. Their name is Emily. And they left a comment saying, this is so cute. It really made me want to listen. And I was like, that's so exciting.
That is so exciting.
If you're Emily and you're listening, just please know that we are so grateful that you're here. And we are so excited that you're here. And for any of our new listeners, that's so exciting for us, and we just hope that you love it.
Go follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Instagram. It totally fills our cup when we get comments like that, and hopefully Emily is listening and gets the little shout out.
Wouldn't that be cool?
It'd be so fun. Yeah, let us know.
Go comment back on that TikTok, and I'll see it.
Yeah. So pay attention to our TikTok. Follow that. Follow our Instagram. We love engaging with you on social media.
Yes, definitely. Well, down into the juice of the episode, we're talking about ruts.
Yes, this was your idea.
Yes, it was my idea. We were brainstorming what we were going to talk about, and I was like, honestly, I feel like we need to do a getting out of a rut episode because I feel like I'm in such a big rut, and I didn't know why. I don't really know what sparked it. I don't know. It was just all of a sudden, I was just feeling like I was just going through the motions and I wasn't not in a depressed way, but I wasn't happy. And I just wasn't finding joy in the things that I was doing, which is the opposite of why we do things. So I feel like I always find joy in things, and I'm usually a pretty happy-go-lucky person, but I could just feel myself getting down and down and down. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like I've just fallen into a hole.
Yeah.
And nothing's exciting and I don't really care. And so I said, I think we're going to have to do a getting out of a rut episode.
Yeah.
For myself, if nobody else.
Yeah. I feel like I've definitely been there. I don't feel like I'm there right now, but I definitely feel like I've been there. And I do think that it comes a lot after you've had a lot of exciting events.
Yeah.
Especially people talk about post-traumatic vacation disorder, things like that. When you've had a lot of things to look forward to for a long time, sometimes it can be brought on by that. Or when you have actually had really awful, terrible things happen, you can obviously get into a rut after that.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it just springs on you and you just, like you said, you just don't really find the joy anymore in normal things that you normally would.
Yeah.
And and I'll talk a little bit when we go through some of our little tips that we're giving about times that I remember when I was just in that place, just drained, kind of apathetic, not really hating things, but just not looking forward to most things.
Yes, that's absolutely what it has been for me. I feel like I'm like slowly getting out of it now, and only because I did the things that like we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
But I feel like without that, I would still be just stuck in the like, ugh. I just don't like want to. Like I know I have to. I've been doing these things for so long. Like we talk about habits a lot on here, and I feel like I have formed a lot of healthy habits and a lot of good habits. But then all of a sudden one day I woke up and I was like, I just freaking don't want to. Like I'm tired, and I just feel like blah.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. So.
And I'm excited to hear a little bit about some of the tips that you have and things that work for you, because you and I are really different. And I feel like I could see why you might get into a rut even when you're feeling really good with your habits, because you are more innately, you do get a lot of joy from spontaneity, and you do get a lot of joy from, like, you're an Enneagram 7, and so things, I don't know, I could see, like, you feel in a really good habit or in a really good routine, really good habits for yourself, and then after a while you're like, why am I even doing this? I should be doing something different, you know?
It does feel like that, or it feels like monotonous or like boring sometimes, and I'm like, oh, like, but then there will be a week where I absolutely love it, and I'm like literally thriving, and I'm like, oh, sorry, I can't talk on the phone right now because I have to do my laundry, like, and I'm excited to do it. But then, I don't know, I think I go back and forth all the time, so I think that's just my personality, is like, you never really know what you're going to get with me, whether I'm going to be super excited about something or super down in the dumps about something. But lately it's been down in the freaking dumps. I'm ready to get out of it.
Well, I think a lot of people could relate to that. I definitely can relate to that. I feel like I can be really up and down, and I've talked about my cycle so many times on here, but that especially can make a huge difference. Yeah. And if you have any sort of changes, like medication changes or things like, or hormonal changes or schedule changes or just weird things that you don't even consciously know are happening, but they are happening and it's affecting you. Yeah. The season changing, it really can affect you and can just kind of, put you in that rut. So
yeah, it really does. Definitely the season changing. I think that's a big thing, because like you also start getting kind of sick outside, like with the allergies, and you're coming right out of the summer. I mean, that's where we are right now, but obviously ruts can happen anytime. But for where we are right now, like, you're coming out of the summer, you're coming out of the excitement, and I don't know. I think for me, I just felt like I needed to slow down a little bit. So honestly, that kind of goes into my first thing. Like, I feel like the first thing I kind of had to do was almost like take a step back and be like, okay, what is it that is like making me feel this way? Like, is there something specific in my schedule that I'm doing? Is there a task that I feel like is really like taking it out of me? Because I'm also someone who gets so exhausted so quickly. Yeah. And I feel like it's hard for me to not get so exhausted all the time. Yeah. And so like that was a big thing for me. I just had to take a step back and be like, okay, what is it that is like really messing with my days, I guess, or like messing with my mindset?
Just like take inventory of what is going on. What, do you mind saying?
No, not at all.
What were the things that you were feeling like were sticking out when you took a step back?
I think that this is silly because we just had a nighttime routine episode, but I think that I was finding that I was trying to stay up later and later and later because I was feeling like I wasn't having like fun during my day, so I was trying to stay up later and later and later, which then made me super tired, which then like made my whole day tired, and then I'm getting off of work and I'm taking a nap, and then like the rest of the night is like go, and then it's like later. So I think that I had to step back and say like, okay, like you've done too much of this, you need to go like to bed at a better time. Honestly, like that's what it was for me. I had to start going to bed at like 10 again instead of
sleep is
like,
a biggie. We say it all the time.
It's so big, and I mean I feel like I say this all the time, but I'm tired all the time. So like pushing a bedtime is not a good option for me. Yeah. So that was honestly a really big thing that I had to start doing, and then it kind of like helped me realign my nights. Yeah. So that way I was doing things in my nights that brought me joy instead of like sitting on my phone for like an hour and a half every night, because I don't ever really do that. But I started to do that with my like, I don't feel really like I want to do anything else, so I'm just going to sit on my phone, be on TikTok, lay in bed with Gilmore Girls on in the background. And then like it was just really putting me in such a rut.
Ooh, what did you call it?
Rotting.
Yes,
yeah.
I was like, you were having rotting nights.
Dude, I was. Okay, yeah.
And it's okay to have those every once in a while.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just once it becomes your everyday thing.
Yeah.
I'm totally with you. I get into ruts. I think your physical affects you so much, whether it's fatigue because you're not sleeping very well, or whether it's just kind of that noise in your head because you're constantly on social media. Or for me, I notice when I come back from a vacation, or on top of the vacation PTSD thing, on top of that, but then, or whenever I come back from just like a weekend of long indulgences, I can feel like I'm just dragging so much. And a lot of it's because like, I drink a lot, or I ate a lot of foods that I'm not usually eating.
The nutrition aspect is crazy.
Yes, fast food.
Oh my gosh,
it can slam you, and it can put you into a rut. And the thing that sucks is that when you're in a rut, you don't have the motivation to make something healthy, or you don't have the motivation,
it gets harder. Like the more in the rut you get, the harder it is to like drag yourself out of it.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point. And I like the idea of, okay, first take a step back, take inventory, what is going on. And I think another thing that we could add to that is take inventory of if there has been a change, even if it's subtle, like you said. It was just as subtle as going to bed at 11 or midnight instead of 10.
Yeah.
But it was making a big difference for you.
Huge.
And I would say for me, sometimes like when I notice that I'm in a rut, honestly, I would say I'm in a little bit of a rut right now with like my health goals and whatnot, just because I feel
out of summer.
Yeah, and I feel like I've had a lot of events and things. Yeah. And so I feel like I've had a lot of treats and whatever. I talked about that with drinking, like how I was drinking more days than I wasn't and that sort of thing. And I feel like I'm back on track with that. But yeah, sometimes it's just taking inventory of what has changed. Yeah. And yeah, I think that I've been noticing that myself with like kind of getting off of the plan that works really well for me.
Yeah.
And
isn't that so funny that like I feel like when you're in a rut, you feel like it's because, like I said earlier, like it's so boring, it's so monotonous, but then you change up your routine and you notice that that's where it like starts hindering you. Yeah. I just think that's so wild. Like
it is. Yeah.
I don't know. Like your routine is there for a reason, and like you developed this routine for a reason and it really worked for you, but then you just got sidetracked and like, yeah. And now you need to go back to that routine kind of thing.
And I feel like kind of this works well with our second point, but I feel like you can go back to the routine or the habit or whatever it was that you needed to, but maybe you can find a way to make it more fun, find a way to change it up, find a way.
Change it up.
Yeah, find a way to do what it is that will get you back out of that rut, and maybe it is going back to those habits that are serving you better, but can you change them up so that they seem more fun, or so that they don't seem boring or whatever?
Yes, I completely agree. I think that changing it up is really important, especially if you're feeling like bored, like you said. So yeah, definitely changing it up. And that could be like, for me, I have not been wanting to go to the gym at all. And I love going to the gym normally, but just lately, like these past 2 or 3 weeks, I'm like, oh my God, I can't do it. Like, don't make me go kind of thing. But then, like, instead, we'll get home and we'll take Waylon on a walk. And that's been really nice. Yeah. And it feels like that's a little bit better. Or we got a walking pad. So I'll, like, walk whenever I'm watching TV instead. And it, like, it has just changed it up a little bit for me. So that way I'm still getting the exercise in that I know I need to get. But I'm not going to the gym right now. Yeah. And it was just a change that I needed, even though it's not a permanent change. Right. It was just like the thing I needed to like switch up a little bit.
I really like that. I think that honestly, a physical change in general can be so helpful, whether it is just getting outside and getting a walk-in or getting some sunshine or whatever, that is really great. But also, if you can physically, like, I think about if you're in a rut with work, let's say, and you sit in the same office, or like if you work from home, you sit in the same spot or whatever. Are you able to work from like a coffee shop for a day, or are you able to change up the atmosphere that is in your desk, like at your office,
reorganize your workspace kind of thing? I do that all the time.
Yeah, like, because,
or even your home space.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I mean, as you've said several times on the podcast before, your surroundings really impact how you feel without you noticing it.
They totally do.
And I feel like that's one thing that you can change up. And I don't know, like, maybe just making that one little adjustment could help you kind of take steps toward getting out of that rut.
Yeah, I think that's really important to note, because I don't think I thought about it until right now while we're talking, but changing up like your atmosphere and things, I've been spending so much time in the bedroom, which I love my bedroom. I've always been a big like person who spends a lot of time in their bedroom, but I also will spend a lot of time in my living room. But I've noticed I have been spending like hardly any time in my living room.
Interesting.
Yeah, and just this past weekend I went and bought a new fall candle, and now I've been spending all my time in my living room, and like I feel like it's more open. So I think that's funny, like a change of scenery, something that small, of just like getting a new candle instead of it smelled like sunscreen, my old candle, which is beautiful, but like just switch it up there.
Yeah, just a little change of scenery.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the next one is, and I don't even have this on the outline, but I just thought of it. I feel like a lot of times for ruts, for me, when I feel like I'm getting into a rut, it's because I'm avoiding something that is like a task that I need to do. And instead of doing it, I'm procrastinating, and then it gets back farther and farther and farther, and I get farther and farther away from doing it. And then I'm just like, and like, I don't know. So I feel like...
And then you just feel bad about yourself, because you're sitting there like thinking about the thing that you're not doing, that you're avoiding, or you're just like, oh my gosh, I should have done that so long ago.
Yes.
And it's just this mental spiral.
Such a spiral. Absolutely such a spiral. It digs me way down to the ground.
Yeah.
And every time I ask myself, like, why am I doing that? Or like, man, if I would have just gotten this taken care of, I wouldn't be feeling like this right now.
Yeah. I just heard this... I mentioned this podcast last time too, but Marie Forleo podcast, she's author of Everything is Figure Outable. She had a little like 8-minute podcast. She has some that are longer, some that are shorter, but I love the little short ones because they're always like a little kick in the pants.
Yeah.
And it was literally, the title was something like how to stop procrastinating, or this simple thing will help you stop procrastinating.
Love.
And she calls it it's something about the 10-minute morning practice. I don't know. She didn't come up with it. I think it's from a book. And the idea is that whatever that thing is that you've been avoiding, first of all, you have to identify it like the day before, because if it's laundry, or if it's, you're trying to write a book, but you keep putting it off, or whatever the thing is, you keep avoiding calling the cold call that you have to do at work or something like that. She says first thing in the morning, the first thing that you do, I mean, it can be after your coffee or something.
Yeah.
But after like the first,
like once you get your day started.
Yes. Thing that you do, you just spend 10 minutes, just 10 minutes. You set a timer for 10 minutes and you just start that thing.
That's a really good idea.
You just start that thing and you only commit yourself to 10 minutes. And the thing that it does in the brain is that once you start that thing, like a workout or like going through your sales call list or whatever it is, once writing a book, once you start that thing, usually you get momentum to just keep going. It's
or you're like, okay, I'm almost done, or like your brain also feels fulfilled.
Yeah, exactly. And you can stop at 10 minutes. That's all you committed to. But you could also just be like, wow, I'm on a roll. I'm going to keep going. And so it's her like tip on not procrastinating. It's her tip from someone else. I don't know.
No, that's such a good idea. I've not heard that before, but I think that could be so helpful.
I think it might be game changer. I haven't started it yet. I think I just listened to that podcast episode last week. To be honest, I don't think I procrastinate that much.
No, you definitely don't.
But there are things that I do, and I feel like that when I get in that rut or when I start to feel down, like how we're talking about how you feel when you're in this state, I think it's a good thing to have in your back pocket.
No, that really is. I also think that's really good that it's at the beginning of the day, because I'll do that, except that I'll tell myself I'll do it at the end of the day. Like, all right, you know, like the last hour before I'm about to get off, like I'll just get all this done. And then the last hour comes and I'm like, oh my God, there's nothing I'd rather do less. Yeah. Like, you know, something like that. Or... This is a good example. I was supposed to go to the gym at 4:30. I told myself I'm going to go at 8. I will be going at 8, but it would have been so much easier had I just gone at 4:30. So I think that that's funny of like, kind of, I like the 10-minute idea, but then also the priority of it being one of the first things you do. Because then like you're checking it off your list. You can finally get away from that task. Yeah. And you can move on. And I really do think that when you're finally over a task that you've been putting off for so long and you finally get it completed, I really do feel like that like elevates me out of the ground that I've dug myself in. Yes. Like it really does get me up and I'm like, okay, we can like start over. Like I feel fresh again.
I think about something someone said one time. How can we make this more fun? It seems so simple and it seems kind of silly, but I've been thinking this recently, like how can we make this more fun? Like before we record, could we have like a little phrase that we say, or maybe we could do like 2 or 3 wins before we start our podcast or something like that. But just in general, my big one that I have shared plenty of times before is if it's like a menial task like laundry or loading the dishwasher or something. My thing I always do is how many Taylor Swift songs does it take to get to accomplish this task? And obviously you can't do that with everything. Like if you're making calls for work, you can't also be seeing how long it takes you to get that done with the Taylor Swift song. But that's my go-to.
I
mean, but it came from me just thinking, okay, how can I just make this more fun?
Yeah. You have talked about that one before with the Taylor Swift songs. I think we talked about it with the like, how long does it take you to do your nighttime routine kind of thing? And it like, took you like 2 or 3 Taylor Swift songs. And I was like, that is quite a unit of measurement. I love that.
Or 1 if it's the 10-minute All Too Well version.
That's right. That is
Taylor's version, I mean.
Taylor's version. Do you have like some other ideas or other examples of ways you can make things fun? It's okay if you don't. Yeah. They just sprang it on you, but.
Yeah, so honestly, sometimes you can get in a rut with your relationships, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes when you've been married or with your partner for a really long time, you can kind of feel like you guys are in a rut.
Oh,
That is kind of honestly where I was feeling with us when I started adding in our Friday, when I told Jared, I want to start doing Friday coffee dates.
Yeah.
And we got the idea from another couple, but I was like, I just kind of have been feeling like, you know how at some points in your relationship you can sometimes start to feel more like roommates than romantic partners, you know?
Because you just go through the motions, you do all the adult things, and then
Yeah, and fortunately both of us have jobs where we have the opportunity to sometimes work outside of the home. So that was something that I added in. I was like, well, how can I make this, our relationship, more fun? Yeah. Same thing with like our monthly dates. So honestly, any little thing like that I add into my life, a lot of it has come from this, how do I make this more fun?
I love that.
Question in my head. And I even think that sometimes like in the car on car rides or like when we take our regular walk, like I don't know. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, that makes sense. I really like that one. So like adding in some date nights if you're in a rut in your relationship. I thought about this while you were talking, 'cause I was trying to think of like what's something I do without really knowing it, because I've not listened to that podcast before and like not thought of it like that. But I was like, there's got to be things I've done subconsciously. I just remembered that last fall, I must go through seasonal ruts, but last fall, I remember with all of my like chores that I had to do throughout the house, because you have to do that to keep up with your home, I would start watching a Harry Potter movie until I literally made my way through the entire series. So I would only watch them when I was doing a chore. So if I was like cleaning my bathroom or something, I'd have it on my phone with my ear pods in or just playing it out loud. And then that way it was like entertaining. I wanted to watch Harry Potter. I was happy it was on, and then I would like clean my bathroom or do my laundry or whatever it is, and then I would turn it off once I was done, go on about my day, and then that way I was like looking forward to watching Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I just thought of that.
How can we make this more fun?
Yeah. Wow.
Add Harry Potter.
Add Harry Potter, add Taylor Swift. Add a date night.
These are the answers.
I love those ones. Yeah. So that's a great idea. Just anything that you're doing in your life, how can you make it more fun? And that, I feel like that could also be a part of the change it up with, it was more fun to buy a fall candle. So I did. Yeah. I bought a fall candle and put it in my living room.
Yeah. I think you put a note about just like bringing things in that fill you up, bring you joy.
Yeah.
You know, just things that, just
make you happy again.
Things that make you happy.
Yeah.
I feel like really when you're in a rut, it's just those small steps that, you know, it's just little, I say this all the time, but little by little, a little.
I don't think you say this all the time. I'm just kidding.
Little by little, a little becomes a lot.
Oh. We do say that.
Yeah. And so it's just like, start with a fall candle.
Yeah.
Start with a Harry Potter movie. You know what I mean? And just whatever it is that is kind of putting you in a rut.
Yeah.
You'll probably be able to climb out of it a little bit easier.
Definitely. I think that you saying the, like, bring things that bring you joy. So think about how you can make it more fun, but then also, like, what have you accidentally taken out of your life that did bring you a lot of joy that you need to, like, make sure you're adding back in? So did you used to love, like, listening to live music and you haven't done that in years and you're like, man, I'd really like to, or maybe not even years, maybe like a couple months kind of thing. Like, okay, go to a restaurant on Friday night where you know that they're going to have live music. You can eat there for 30 minutes to an hour, get to see your music, and you get to go home. I had to do that with TV shows. I started watching Friends again because I was like, it makes me happy, and I just feel like this is something that easily lifts my mood every time.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so what are we forgetting makes us happy, and how can we add it back in?
Yeah, and I think that especially when kids come into the picture, that it's really easy to just ditch any hobbies or any, you know, I'm thinking about how we play volleyball every Tuesday night.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Kids, their activities kind of become the precedent. But I see people at our volleyball nights.
Yeah.
With kids that are just playing in the sand,
whatever. Making sandcastles.
And I just love that they're prioritizing their...
Me too. I do get happy when I see them. Anytime, like, even if a kid runs on our court or something, I never get mad because I'm like, oh, good for those parents. I'm glad they're out.
Yes, and I think about us, and I'm like, I really hope that's us.
Yeah.
Like, when and if anybody on our team has kids, I'm like, I really hope that we still keep playing because it genuinely is... I mean, even though sometimes it's aggravating because I hate losing, but it really is something that each week I really look forward to.
Yeah.
And again, it's like physical movement. It's probably the only hobby that Jared and I are like really share an interest in.
Yeah.
Like, we don't share a lot of interest, to be totally honest, besides each other. And
right.
So volleyball is one of those things. So and it's like a physical thing. So it's just good for your health.
It's fun. It's just a good time. Yeah, that's a really good idea. I've actually heard, like, even my boss at work, he says all the time, like, oh, I want to play sand volleyball again, or like, I want to play softball again, because he used to do it pre-kids, and he's like, I haven't done it since my kids were like 5, and his oldest is like 12. And he says all the time, like, I need to get back in it. I'm like, just do it. Sign up. Like, just do it. That would be so fun.
Or if it's like the live music thing that you said, or like trivia night or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm even thinking of, some are not friendly for families, probably.
Of course.
But like 3 Trails, I know that the Esries, like, they take their young ones there. You know, I just know that there are bars that exist.
Yeah, and it can even be in restaurants.
That you could take your kids and fill your cup.
Have a good atmosphere. Have a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Bring it back. I love that idea of looking at, has something slipped off of your radar that was really filling your cup before.
Because we become so bogged down with adult things that you have to do. Like, we have to pay the bills. We have to clean the house. We have to go to work. We have to walk our dog. Like, it's all the responsibilities all the time. It can be so easy for the things that are fun and the things we want to do to slip off our plate. Like, we just don't think about those, or they just become way less of a priority. So how can we bring it back in? Prioritize that again. I think kind of the last one that is really helpful and definitely helps me is just talking to someone about it and telling someone about it. So whether that's like, I mean, for me, it's pretty much always Mason is who I'm going to tell first. I'm just like, man, I'm bored, or like, man, I'm just like not feeling happy, like something like that. And then even just talking about it takes like the weight off of it and makes it so that way I can start moving forward or can start getting myself out. But I just think it's helpful for someone to be like, I understand you. How can I help? kind of thing.
Yeah. I remember when I saw your note on this, I was like, yeah, sometimes just talking about it makes it feel less heavy by itself.
Yes.
And even if you can't put it into words, because I think that is sometimes what keeps people from wanting to talk about it is like, I don't even know what to say. And
or someone will be like, well, why are you in a rut? And you're like, I don't know. Yeah. I just am.
Yeah. And I know for me, I have like a weird thing where I just don't want to seem dumb and I don't want to seem needy and I don't want to seem like a crybaby or whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes you perceive yourself as sounding that way, but really the way you sound is just authentic.
Right.
But I remember a few years ago, and I was in a rut. I would say the same thing as you. Usually I see the positive in things pretty easily. Yeah. I'm pretty optimistic, whatever. And I was in a pretty, like, couple month long type of rut. And I still remember the conversation that I had with a good friend of mine. It was actually before volleyball because we used to walk before volleyball. And we were just walking and talking and kind of, I have the space to think this stuff out loud. And I think sometimes, like, I think it's great that you say those things to Mason, but sometimes at home, when I am in a rut, I don't really think that much about it. And because we're in our routine, I don't think I really know I'm in a rut until I start talking about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just am not feeling great.
Yeah.
And so, and just talking about those things out loud, like I still remember that conversation and feeling like it was kind of a turning point out of that rut.
Isn't that so helpful? Just talking about it, just saying it out loud takes the weight off of it, like you were saying. It makes it not as serious or feel as heavy.
Exactly.
That's so important to have someone that you can do that with. And like, for you, it's funny that when you start feeling like that, you don't really notice it at home, or you don't like totally notice it until you're talking with maybe like a friend. Because I am such an overthinker that I notice it immediately. If I'm like, okay, I'm not feeling happy today, why not? Like, I notice it immediately. And sometimes I won't tell Mason if I like know how to get myself out of it. But if I'm like, listen, we need to change something up, because you live your life so together. And I really think that maybe that's something too why I am more like reliant on Mason for that, and you're more reliant on like a friend for one of those things, because you like spending time with people or like you get a lot of energy from spending time with people. And for me, I'm like, oh, I can't go out of the house. Like, I can't spend time with anybody. I feel awful. Like something like that. So that's funny. I love a good difference.
Yeah, I think I've actually noticed, I've always viewed myself as, I feel like I'm very self-aware and whatever, but I actually think I'm not very self-aware when it comes to my emotions. And it's not until I'm talking about it out loud. And so, I don't know. Like, I honestly, I think that I am very aware of other people's emotions, and I'm constantly, honestly, kind of not worrying, but like, I'm constantly thinking about what other people might be feeling or whatever. And so I think sometimes it keeps me from being in tune with where I'm at.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's why talking about it is just so helpful. And kind of like you said, like getting out of the house, getting in front of somebody new, and then I'm like, oh yeah, normally, and I think that's part of why it works with a friend, because normally I'd be feeling really like excitable and whatnot. Yeah. And I think that's really different. I do feel excited in my home life, but that's like kind of a different vibe.
Very much so.
Than leaving the house and going and doing something. Like, I did notice it if we would, like, go on a date or something, like, I wasn't as present or whatever. Things like that.
Yeah.
But so, I don't know, it's just interesting.
I like that.
I do think that talking about it, and then I think in extreme cases, or not even extreme cases, but
it's like take it one step further kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. If you don't, if you can't even identify somebody to talk to about this kind of thing, I feel like therapy is so great. And this is a little hack from when I was doing BetterHelp.
Ooh, okay.
Which some people have positive experiences and some people don't, so it's up to you. But BetterHelp is like all online video conferencing or text messaging type therapy. And this was something I discovered around that same time. That, because I was like, I should try therapy too.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I discovered that if you go sign up for BetterHelp, first of all, you can probably find some code somewhere. We don't have one, but go
Sorry, guys.
Somewhere else. But you can probably find some kind of code somewhere. But if you go to sign up and then you don't finish all the way through, it would 3 days later it sent me a deep discount. So that was when I actually followed through.
Nice.
So just a therapy hack for you.
Trying to make it cheaper.
Seriously, because it was you know how they get your emails, any kind of thing that
yeah.
some accidentally subscribe to, but they get your email and then they're like, wait, no, we don't want you to go.
Yeah.
Do this for 60% off. And I'm like, what? That was better than the code for 20% off.
Right. You're like, okay.
Yeah, so I ended up doing that too.
Oh, yeah. So I love that.
It's also a really good option. If you've tried all these things and you just are still feeling really in a rut and almost maybe depressed.
Yeah.
Actual depression.
Yeah.
Then, or even just depressing feelings. I mean, anything is good to talk to a therapist about.
Yeah. I've gone to therapy before and I loved it. But I have been wanting to go back to therapy lately just because we should go. Let's go to therapy. I've been wanting to get back into it because I have been feeling myself more so falling into more of these rut patterns and kind of these thoughts of sadness or these thoughts of I just don't want to. So I've really been wanting to go back to a therapist just so I can have someone to talk about it pretty consistently and just so that way I can feel not so alone and honestly validated. Yeah. Sometimes I just need to feel validated and I'm a therapist could do that. Maybe someone on here will also start therapy after they hear this.
Yeah.
We are huge therapy lovers.
I think everybody should go to therapy.
I remember you saying I truly believe that everyone could benefit from therapy. No matter who you are, every single person could go and benefit from it. And I was like, oh, definitely. That's so true.
Yeah. And then it's kind of hypocritical because I'm not always going to therapy myself.
It's hard.
But I definitely think that if it's something that you can make a part of your everyday, and there's a lot more access to therapy now than there used to be.
Yes.
Especially with online therapy, but also insurance plans are starting to cover mental health too.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And you can find therapists near you whenever you log into your insurance provider. Yes. They'll tell you where it'll be covered at. Yeah. Which is awesome.
Yeah. I need to go back too. Yeah.
We'll do it together. We'll do it. Keep us honest, guys.
Yeah.
Ask us if we went.
Because this is the end of September that this will be released. So maybe by end of October.
Oh yeah. Set a goal for yourself.
I was I'm setting.
We need to put that on the fall bucket list. Yeah. quick add on.
Yeah.
Oh well, I love that, and I hope that if you have been listening to this and you've kind of found that you have been in a rut, or maybe you know someone who's in a rut, or you can just feel it coming. Or you've just had it before. Yeah. I hope that you guys can kind of hear what we're saying and use it in your own lives and try to apply it. And hopefully it can help you a little bit.
Yeah, and if you're not in a rut, save this for later.
Yeah.
We are.
Save it for later. Send it to someone else who is.
Yeah. Please share the episode with anybody you think could benefit from it. We would love that. And until next time.
Until next time. Cheers.